This is an absolute disaster for the New York Knicks, who have been ravaged with injuries for the last few weeks. Isaiah Hartenstein has gone down. OG Anunoby has gone down. Julius Randle has gone down. And now we have to deal with somebody else dealing with an injury because somebody else is now listed on the injury list. That's Donte DiVincenzo, who apparently has a hamstring injury. And as you guys know, that can be a very devastating injury if it's not taken care of. We're going to break down his injury and how much time he's set to miss. All of this and so much more today. If you're not already subscribed to the channel, go ahead and hit that subscribe button now. And make sure you have notifications turned on so you don't miss a second of the new content. And now, let's get started. Donte is dealing with a hamstring injury. When I first heard this report, I was shaking my head. I could not believe it. Another injury? Another person on the New York Knicks is injured. And not just anybody. Donte DiVincenzo, somebody having a breakout year for the New York Knicks, shooting lights out from three this year, and somebody who we depend on to give us points day in and day out with Julius Randle being out. If we miss Donte DiVincenzo for an extended period of time, and we're missing Julius Randle, I don't know what the Knicks are going to do or how they're going to keep themselves afloat. Because who else is going to score? Jalen Brunson plus who? That's the problem. Let's break down the exact report here so you understand how Donte suffered the injury in the first place. According to CBS Sports, Donte DiVincenzo had logged 41 of 43 possible minutes when he grabbed his right hamstring and gingerly walked to the bench. This was against the Houston Rockets. He attempted to massage the area and re-entered the game, but he immediately signaled that he was unable to perform. Per Fred Katz of The Athletic, Coach Tom Thibodeau had no update on DiVincenzo's health post-game, but the 27-year-old has been a breakout shooter in the Knicks offense, and any extended absence would be a sizable blow. Steph Bondy with the New York Post stated that Donte DiVincenzo was holding his right hamstring at the time, and he was mouthing to the bench, "My hamstring." And according to Steph Bondy, when he entered the game again, as CBS Sports reported, Donte asked to be let out of the game and he was limping to the locker room. Hearing that information with no update had me extremely concerned, but thankfully, resident NBA insider Ian Begley himself came out and gave the following information about Donte and his injury. According to Begley, he states the Knicks are listing Donte DiVincenzo as questionable for tomorrow's game with the Orlando Magic with a sore right hamstring. Isaiah Hartenstein is questionable with the left Achilles tendinopathy. Hartenstein has missed 2 games due to the ailment. DiVincenzo hurt his hamstring against the Houston Rockets a couple of nights ago. Wednesday's game against the Orlando Magic is New York's final game before the All-Star break. And according to Steve Popper of Newsday, another NBA insider, we have the following update about Donte DiVincenzo. And thankfully, it's a good one. According to Popper, Donte DiVincenzo, his hamstring injury that a team source indicated was not believed to be a serious issue. Shout out to Ian Begley and Steve Popper, 2 great NBA insiders, for giving us the following updates about Donte DiVincenzo and his injury. I gotta say, hearing that Donte DiVincenzo is questionable, hearing the fact that an internal source with the New York Knicks, according to Steve Popper, stated that his injury is not serious, that is a weight off of my shoulders, off of my chest, because Donte DiVincenzo missing extended time for the New York Knicks is an absolute problem. Who else is going to score when you're missing Julius Randle and you're missing Donte DiVincenzo? 2 of your most prolific scorers on the Knicks today. If you go an extended period of time without those guys, it's likely you're going to lose more games than you're going to win because Jalen Brunson cannot do it by himself. But this update for me signals to the fact that Donte DiVincenzo is likely going to miss tonight's game. Isaiah Hartenstein likely going to miss tonight's game. The Knicks are going to be extremely shorthanded against the Orlando Magic tonight. And that concerns me because that means it's going to be the Jalen Brunson show again. And I don't even know how many minutes he's going to play. He might play every single minute tonight because we don't have anybody else. And even if we did, I don't know if Tom Thibodeau would trust them enough late in game to play them. That's the problem. Tom Thibodeau needs to explore the lineup a little bit more, needs to explore those two-way players a little bit more, and needs to go ahead and try to get other players in the lineup so we can get more rest for our starters, like Jalen Brunson, like Donte DiVincenzo, like Isaiah Hartenstein. We need those guys to get more rest headed into the playoffs, because if they don't get that rest, they're going to be banged up. And the likelihood is, if you go into the playoffs like that, you're not going to perform 100%, no matter if you get rest or whatever the case may be. You have to make sure your body and your mind is right going into the playoffs. And playing extended minutes like that on a night-to-night basis is not healthy for your mental or for your body. You have to make sure you're able to reduce those things. And I know we're injured right now. The more depth we get back as we get healthy, those minutes are going to reduce for a lot of players. But until that time happens, we can't just continue to run the starters out there that we have available 40 plus minutes, because the same thing's going to happen. We're going to potentially injure those guys as we get healthy. It's going to be a cycle, and it's going to be a cycle of injuries. Nobody wants to see that, especially if you're a fan of this team. We have to find a way to cycle these minutes a little bit more properly so nobody's playing more than 40 minutes a night. Because if we continue to do that, an injury is going to happen. Look at what happened with Donte DiVincenzo. Honestly speaking, we're lucky here. We're lucky that Donte didn't severely hurt his hamstring. Hamstring injuries are tricky. They could go for minor to severe like that. It just depends on how you tweak it. Thankfully for Donte DiVincenzo, it was in a way that's not going to have him miss extended time. It's going to likely mean that after the All-Star break, we're going to see Donte DiVincenzo return, which is great news. But this should be a signal to the coaching staff, to Tom Thibodeau, to everybody watching the New York Knicks, that we have to be better with the minutes and we have to manage time properly. I'm not saying you can't play Jalen Brunson or a couple of these other starters extended period of time. Of course, you need to do that in certain game situations. I understand that. But if it's a blowout, don't continue to put your starters out there, especially when you're down several people. You want to give them the most opportunity to rest. If you play them continuously at those points in time, especially when you're up big, and I understand no lead is safe, but when you're down several key players and you have other games to play, you have to make sure you're managing the minutes properly. So that way you have players available for the next game and the following game. We are losing players left and right. Each and every night I look at the injury report, it's like a new player appears. This time is Donte DiVincenzo. At one point, it was Josh Hart. I can't keep seeing all of these Knicks players appear on the injury list because either they're playing too many minutes, they're not getting enough rest, or some other factor is leading to them being injured. We have to make sure we're doing this better as a coaching staff and as a franchise. We have to make sure these minutes are managed better. Donte DiVincenzo played 41 of a possible 43 minutes. It truly begins to concern me when I see player after player on the New York Knicks continue to make the injury reserve list for the Knicks because of some issue, some other factor, or some reason. I'm not saying it's all due to extensive minutes that they're playing or Tom Thibodeau or anything like that. But what I am saying is it's a factor. And if we know it's a factor, then we have to do it in our own best interest and in our players' interest to make sure we manage the factors that we can control. And minutes is a factor that we absolutely can control. We have other players on the roster. We have two-way players on this team. Now, I understand giving yourself the best chance to win may not include playing those two-way players extended minutes. But guess what? When you're down several key players, maybe you have to make that call because that call may help you now and in the future because we don't know what those guys can do. Maybe they break out for the New York Knicks and they become an even more and even bigger trade piece. And that helps your other players get rest as well too. So that way you might be able to help the Knicks even more. You never know what could happen until you play somebody extended minutes. And right now, the Knicks have every excuse in the book to play some of these two-way players like Jacob Toppin, somebody who I've been arguing for a lot of months now, should already be playing extended minutes for the New York Knicks, especially at this point in time when we're injured. But if you're not going to play them now, then you're never going to play them. If not now, then when? We have to address this. We have to do something. Injuries mounting up for the Knicks is concerning. I'm watching this and it's concerning me. It's scaring me. I want to be a very healthy and strong playoff team. And the only way that's going to happen is if we manage the players' minutes better and we control the factors that we can control. But one of the main things to take away here, and a positive update again, shout out to Steve Popper for noting this. An internal team source with the New York Knicks has confirmed that Donte DiVincenzo's hamstring injury is not believed to be serious. Music to my ears. Thank you so much for that update. All of this weight is off of my shoulders now because now I can go to bed at night sleeping with the fact that I know Donte DiVincenzo has an injury and it is something to do with his hamstring. So it is concerning. However, it's not something that's likely going to keep him out for an extended period of time. We're likely going to get him back after All-Star break. And thankfully, hopefully, we'll get more players back like Isaiah Hartenstein after All-Star break. Maybe we'll have an update on Julius Randle after All-Star break. OG Anunoby will have an update on after All-Star break. And hopefully, slowly, our team will come together. We'll get healthier and we'll continue to be that dangerous and dominant team that we've been and we've looked like in the Eastern Conference. But what about you guys? What do you think about this injury update on Donte DiVincenzo? And did you feel like I did when you saw his name mentioned on that injury report? Let me know in the comments below, guys, because honestly, I would love to hear from you. But that's going to do it for this episode. I hope you enjoyed it. And if you did, go ahead and smash that like button, leave a comment below, and of course, guys, please subscribe to the channel. Until next time, Knick fans. Peace.